Houston. It's crunch time.
It is crunch time here in Clarksville, Tennessee. Jeff Mathews, Bree Houston's in the studios of 91.9 FM. Bree, how was your weekend? It was full of sports, I know. It had to have been.
How did you know?
I mean, there were so many sports going on. I mean, what else could you have done?
I mean, true. Really, that's really all it was. Sports, and more sports.
With a dash of sports.
Yes. And don't forget a little extra pinch of sports.
That's a true statement, and I love it. I honestly, as a sports guy, I kind of prefer to sit at my apartment and just watch sports. That's kind of where I like to go.
It's the life, right?
That's exactly right. But we're going to kind of bring it down first for local high school football going on around the county. And I'll be honest, there's a lot of games going on so far. Rossview 35 to Dixon County 14. You can follow along with us if you'd like. Henry County 62, Kenwood, a big goose egg on that one. That sounds like a rough game to watch and play.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to be playing in that game.
Creekwood 52, Sycamore 19. I was actually at that game. That one was brutal. I'm not going to lie to you. Clarksville 21, Dyer County 24. Dyer County barely getting the win over there.
That was a good game. It was down to the wire.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, man. Northeast 53, West Creek 6. Summit 42, Northwest 0. Another blowout game. Nashville Christian 47, Clarksville Academy 7. Rough times. Springfield 7, Marshall County 28. Not a super close game. Cheatham County 21, East Hickman 55, and then Riverdale 21 to Blackman 14.
Yes, some scores that are surprising. Some games were just plain blowouts.
Yeah, I mean, some of these games, sometimes they're little lopsided matchups.
Yeah, that's true. And we're getting close to playoffs. So let me read off the regional standings as of Saturday after last week. So Henry County, this is for Region 7 5A. Henry County is in first, of course. They're 4-2. Henry County, they're kind of like the bullies of Region 7 5A. You know, they basically have their way, whatever they want to do. I said the name Patriots is kind of fitting for them. They always win.
That's good.
Clarksville Northeast, they're in second. Their record is 3-1 in the region. Dyer County's in third, 3-3. Clarksville Northeast, they're in fourth, 1-3. West Creek, 1-3. Sixth place is Clarksville High, 1-4, and Kenwood is in the last place with a 1-4 record. So, that's the standing. But for this week coming up, game of the week is actually Clarksville High versus Northeast. There's a lot of hype around this game. A lot of people are excited. Sean Spencer, he's actually a player for Northeast. He said this is the game that he's most excited for in the whole year right now. So I think we're going to have a good one to talk about next week.
Oh, I think so, too. I mean, just talking about this week, I was at that Sycamore Creekwood game. Just hard to watch seeing Sycamore kind of get a beat down by Creekwood. And Creekwood had a strong offense, had strong players. Sycamore, the bad thing about Sycamore is you have a first-year head coach and then also in Coach Hall, and then you also, on top of that, their offensive line has never played the offensive line. This is their first year ever playing those positions, every single one of them. And so, it makes it a lot harder to kind of coach a team to make any kind of movement on that line. You don't have a run game. You really don't give your quarterback time to throw the ball, and so it just makes things a little harder.
Yeah, and it's unfair. I mean, I say unfair. Everyone was dealing with the whole thing, but when you have a first-year head coach, like we talked about last year, it's easier to relate them or to equate them to relationships. You know, you get to know a person just like you get to know a coach and, you know, the things that they want you to do. And it was hard. It's hard for these players to actually understand their coach when COVID hits. They really haven't had that much time to have chemistry or connection, and that stuff just takes time. So this season might just be rough for them, as it has been so far.
Especially since some of these schools didn't get a chance to do any jamborees or scrimmages in preseason. So, I mean, you're basically going from pre-COVID, right, that last month before COVID, some of these teams were able to meet together and have some form of, like, weightlifting or practices, and then COVID hits, okay, and then you get about 1 month to prepare before season. Is kind of the situation that some of these teams were in.
Yeah, so I mean,
It's hard and it's rough, but at the same time, some of these teams you have to kind of. At what point does the COVID excuses stop? I feel like some of these coaches are kind of just letting that excuse kind of run wild with not getting their schedules the way that they want them, or not being able to get a record.
It's
the way
a
that
valid
they want.
excuse, though.
It's a valid excuse, but I mean, at one point you have to say, "All right, guys, listen, we ain't playing too good." Like,
It's us. It's not COVID.
yeah, right. I mean, I'm just saying. At one point, the excuse for COVID has to stop. But we're gonna have to move on to our next topic, and that is gonna be the SEC is back. And I mean, this past weekend was probably the most fun weekend for football, high school or for college football. Excuse me. I mean, there was just a ton of SEC football.
It was a lot.
It was just so much fun to watch and listen to. And I mean, I was texting my friends probably all day long, just checking up on scores. But we're gonna go ahead and dive into it. You can follow along with us. We'll have the graphic come up on screen, and we're gonna start off with Florida 51, Mississippi 35. No real surprise there. I kind of expected Florida to kind of come out on top on that one. Kentucky 13, Auburn 29. This one I was pulling hard for Kentucky.
You know what? That was a disappointing game for me. Like,
it was. Kentucky is such a strong team, and I feel like they have so much like potential and promise in the team, but then they just end up not being able to pull it off in the end. I mean, it's always brutal to watch.
I know those Wildcat fans are very disappointed right now.
Absolutely. Mississippi State 44, Louisiana 34. That one was kind of, I mean, not really shocking. LSU basically lost their whole entire offense, got drafted into the NFL.
Congratulations to them, but LSU is suffering.
I was about to say, LSU not too happy about a loss to Mississippi State, but at the same time, I mean, everyone has to go through a period of rebuild, and I think maybe LSU might be entering into that frame of mind. Maybe not. Let's see how the rest of the season goes for them.
I know a lot of teams like to say, we don't rebuild, we reload.
Right.
They're rebuilding,
for
sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Georgia 37, Arkansas 10. This one was, again, not surprising. Georgia just a big team going up against Arkansas, who hasn't had the best of luck in situations. Texas A&M 17, Vanderbilt 12. Pretty close game. Obviously, Vanderbilt being in Tennessee and Nashville, I always pull for Vanderbilt when they play usually. But I'm surprised it was that close, to be honest with you. I expected Texas A&M.
You expected a blowout.
Not a blowout, but I expected Texas A&M to put at least 20 on.
Wow, mister. I pull for the closest team here.
Okay. No, not what I said. Tennessee 31, South Carolina 27.
Slow it down right here. This game was so satisfying. Well, I guess even more so if you're a Rocky Top fan.
Right.
It's crazy. Such a close game. You know, Tennessee pulled out. They led one time 21-7. And then it was tied at 20. It was tied at 21-7, yes. And then it was tied at 24. Then Tennessee, they finally scored last, and the score is 31-27. But with 1 minute and 27 seconds left on the clock, UT punched the ball off, and it's touched by a receiver for South Carolina. You know, we see this time and time again, or we see the lack thereof, you know, in the NFL where they didn't hop on the ball.
Right.
But that's almost enough time. That's almost a 2-minute drill. If South Carolina would have got the ball, maybe the game would have ended differently, or they would have had a chance to score, kick a field goal, something.
So many what ifs.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, especially when you lose a ball like that. I mean, there's so many what ifs that come after that. But I will say, I mean, someone said, I was scrolling through my social media, and someone had said that South Carolina lost in the most Tennessee fashion way. And I just kind of laughed at that because it's a true statement.
It is true. And I don't know if I should say this, but I don't know if this was a fluke of a game for UT, or if, you know,
right,
they're just that good, or if it was mistakes made by South Carolina.
Well, you know, I mean, obviously games are always going to be decided by, you know, who's going to play better, but then also you have to come into effect the mistakes made on the field, right? And I think, yes, you could probably chop it up to some mistakes, some little things, obviously. The botched punt return obviously is going to be one mistake you have to bring up in this case. But at the same time, I mean, at the end of the day, the scoreboard read what it read, and Tennessee was on top, right?
That's true.
A lot of these coaches go week by week, So, hey, we won this game this week. Next week, I don't know what's going to happen, but we're going to play into whatever we can. And that's kind of how I always feel like Tennessee has always been, right? We're going to go week by week. But unfortunately, they're week by week. In some situations, we're not that great.
Yeah, of course. All they can do is go week by week. But I don't know. I guess time will tell. And if there's anything to be exposed, some team is going to expose them.
That is a true statement. But we're going to go ahead and move into more national. We're going to talk more about the professional sports. We're going to go into the NFL, starting with the Nashville native Tennessee Titans. 3-0 on the season.
This is another team. I'm wondering if they're that good or
right. And it's so hard because I wrote down in my notes. All 3 games, they're 3-0, ladies and gentlemen. Tennessee Titans are 3-0. But here's the thing: all 3 of the games came down to field goals.
Yes, and if we're remembering correctly, week 1 they almost didn't. They almost did not win.
Right. He what was it? 3. He was 1 for 4.
Yes.
But the one that he made was
fourth quarter, the game winning.
Was the game
field
winner?
goal.
Gostowski is his name.
Yes, Stephen Gostowski. He had
correct.
6 field goals in this game, and it was really the Gostowski and Henry show. Derrick Henry.
Right.
He had 2 touchdowns, 119 yards on 26 carries. The man's a beast.
He is a beast.
But pretty much, that's a close game to barely win.
Right. And there was still like a minute and a half left on the clock, I think, after the kick.
Yes.
And so they gave the ball back over, and then just couldn't get defense for the Titans. Just kind of came out and was able to get a stop.
So, Titans fans, celebrate while you can, because we don't know how long this is going to last.
It's a true statement. But, I mean, if you have a kicker that's hitting.
I mean, I feel like this was redemption for him.
I think so, too.
He needed it.
I mean, yeah, you missed three of your first field goals for the Tennessee Titans, and next thing you know.
And last week he missed some last week as well.
Did, yeah, but this week he went perfect.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
I believe this is the true Gostowski. This is why they got him on the team.
Either that or Rabel has him kicking like nonstop in practices.
Coach, when can I join? No, you just stay over there. You just stay over there and kick. You don't have to do anything else. Just kick.
He has to write research papers on how to the correct angle of launch.
Which angle should my toe be facing after I kick on my follow through?
I could see it happening. Rabel's probably so mad about not having a kicker last season, and then it looked rough.
You
for the beginning of the season.
finally
but then,
signed the hero, and then he messes up, but now he's like, thank you for kicking the way you're supposed to. This is what we hired you for.
Exactly. It makes things a little bit easier, that's for sure, and you don't have to worry about not getting 7 points. You just got to worry, right? I mean, sometimes it gets a little hard. But other news, Bengals and the Eagles. Interesting game. I feel like, okay, if you don't know yet, the Bengals and the Eagles played on Sunday, and they tied.
I don't like that. I do not like.
I don't like it either.
No, I prefer before they change the rule, if it was tied, then 5 minutes will go, or a certain amount of time will go on the clock, and if it was up to me, they would still be out there playing. Even now, like to the death, like
oh wow,
finish him, sort of type of thing. I don't like it now. Both teams are 0-2 and 1.
Yeah,
I don't like that. Like
well,
I want. Some of the players were saying this is a loss.
Yeah, and it kind of is, especially if your record is a losing record. Like, okay, let's say you go, I don't know, if you go 8-7-1, that tie counts against you. And when you're thinking about playoffs, right?
Yeah, for sure.
But if you go 9-6-1, you're still fine. I just think when it comes down to the actual, like when it comes down to the playoff times and when it comes down to figuring out who's going to the playoffs, that tie 9 times out of 10 is going to be detrimental, and you're not gonna go to the playoffs because of it.
Yeah, so it's really gonna hurt them.
Yeah,
it will. They're 0-2 right now. 0-2-1, excuse me.
0-2.
So if they can turn their season around, this tie is definitely not going to be for them.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, it's just going to be annoying as a team if you don't make the playoffs because of a tie ball game.
Yeah.
And then what bothers me the most is I think they do, if I remember correctly, I think it's 3 overtimes, correct, and then it ends.
Yeah, like I don't know the exact number, but you get a specific amount, and
Right.
whoever has whatever ends. I don't like that. I rather it continue
Yeah.
until someone.
I mean, I think at least it should be
wins.
another full game.
A full game?
Well, I think they already do 3 15-minute quarters. They'll go 3 15 minutes.
I don't know. I think that's a little long. I think the players might be.
I mean, you might be worn out, but someone's got to win.
Yeah, I say go back to the specific amount of time on the clock until.
Right.
I wouldn't say another whole 4 quarters.
Maybe it's not 15 minutes. Maybe I have that wrong. I don't know. But I will say, not having a winner on top, I don't think is good for the sport.
For any sport in
Right.
mankind ever to be played,
Well, soccer, you can get away with it.
You don't play for ties. You're not
Yeah.
practicing and conditioning to go tie a game. You're playing to you play. Herm Edwards say you play to win the game.
Well, I think what also I didn't like was, and I'll be honest here, I do like Joe Burrow. I think that there's a lot of potential in him as a quarterback, and I think he's actually a good fit for the Bengals. However, for him, it's an improvement for the Bengals, right? You're 0-2 on the season. So are the Eagles, but I mean, you're 0-2 on the season. I think after last week, he said, he goes like, I don't like losing. I've never went 0-2 before in my life. Right? So now he gets a tie. Kind of improvement, kind of not. I don't really know how to take it.
That's not an improvement. And now he can say, I've never been 0-2-1 in my life.
Not many people in the world could say that they've been 0-2-1 in their life. But
horrible.
We got to move on. We have more to talk about. Kansas City versus Baltimore. 34-20, Kansas City on top. Mahomes went 31 for 42, 385 yards with 4 touchdowns. I mean, my dude, Mahomes just went off.
This guy is amazing. That's why he has a contract deal, 10 years, $477 million, 63 million guaranteed.
I'd take that.
Yeah, yeah. That's kind of like, remember we were talking about in the first week of the show, the baseball contracts. How this is kind of like a baseball contract.
Yes.
It's kind of easing over to the NFL.
Well, even then, baseball contracts don't necessarily go over like 7 years in the normal world, right?
Yeah.
But for players like Bryce Harper, they are going into the 10-year realm, and I think that's weird. But
this is an NFL record.
Oh,
the first time, because usually you have contracts that are $63 million with like 30 mil guaranteed.
Let me ask you this: how many years out of the 10 do you think Mahomes is going to play?
I don't know. It's so hard to say.
I think he gets hurt in 4th year. I think he leaves.
Wow.
I think he buys out on year 7.
But I don't really know if I can take what you're saying, because you did quote the Saints to be a Super Bowl contending team. So I don't know if I
They're
can
going to be there now.
I don't know if I can take that in. You
don't have to take it
in.
into anything. I'm just saying I don't think he's going to play all. I don't see him playing all 10 years.
Well, let me tell you what his mom doesn't like or doesn't want people to stop doing. And let me quote her correctly. So during last night's game, she tweeted, "If this announcer doesn't stop calling my son Pat, I might scream, laugh out loud, #help at ESPN NFL at ESPN." Mama Mahomes does not like you calling her boy Pat.
I know, right? It is Patrick.
But you know what? For $477 million, you can call me Patty, Patty Mo, Patrick Star from SpongeBob. Call me whatever you want.
I'll change my name. I don't need to be Jeff.
You know what? I usually say don't call me late for dinner, but for that much, you can don't call me for dinner. I don't care. Whatever.
Whatever easiest for you.
Yeah, like it doesn't even matter.
Travis Kelce for Kansas City went 87 yards, 6 receptions. I like him a lot. I think he's just a beefy tight end, and
strong.
Yeah.
Good build, like.
And him and Mahomes, I think, together work perfectly. I really do think that. I think that's probably the best matchup for a tight end quarterback right now. I think people would say Brady and Gronkowski, but this season I don't think it's it.
Yeah, it's different. I don't know if it's the uniforms.
It might be. Tampa Bay versus Broncos, 28-10. Tampa Bay on top. Brady gets his 2nd win in a Buccaneers uniform.
I guess I can say congratulations. I won't hate this time.
I know.
Not that I'm not a hater. It's just
Brady.
Yeah, just Brady. Yeah, we could just leave it at that.
Brady goes 25 for 38, 297 yards, 3 touchdowns. You can't argue with numbers.
You can't. I mean, like I said, the guy knows how to win, and those are great numbers.
They are. Gronk, 6 receptions, 48 yards. Not fantastic yardage. He has gotten so, I don't think he's gotten that many looks this season.
Can we talk about him being back in the NFL, though, after retirement?
Yeah, that was weird. I think it stemmed down to the fact that he knew that Brady wasn't going to be with the Patriots anymore.
But when he was, his last few years with the Patriots, he was really injury prone. He was always getting hurt.
That is true. I mean, he was getting. I don't know how old he is, but I don't think he's not young.
He's about 34.
Yeah. So I mean,
he went in the 2010 draft, I believe. Yeah,
that sounds right.
He went in 2010. Yeah, he did, and he's 33, 34. So I mean, regular age, that's not old, but football age.
Well, it's getting there, right? I mean, that's when you start thinking about. I'm getting my hip hurts,
and that's what
everything else hurts.
That's what he did. He said there was more to life to football, but he's still playing.
I think he just saw an opportunity to win another Super Bowl with Brady, and I think he took that opportunity. I don't know if Tampa Bay can do it.
Yeah,
I don't know if they
that's
look
another
that strong.
thing to be determined.
That is. One more topic for the NFL, and I'm going to bring it up just because I can. Dallas Cowboys versus the Seahawks. Dallas Cowboys do not win this game. Try to make a comeback, can't make it happen.
That's because they're playing against Russell Wilson. Let me read off his numbers.
Russell Wilson was so good.
27 for 40, 315 yards. Again, 5 touchdowns.
Yeah.
He sets a record for most scoring passes in the first 3 games of the season with 14. Last week he had 5 as well.
Such a good quarterback.
Against the Patriots. So, is it too early to name him MVP?
Yes.
Yes?
Maybe. Yeah.
I don't know. He's doing a really good job consistently. It would be close. It would have to be between him and Mahomes.
Oh, I think you're
Mahomes.
Right, yeah.
Excuse me, Patrick Mahomes.
Patrick Mahomes. Sorry,
yes,
Mama.
Sorry, Mom. But Dallas is 1-2 on the year. Seahawks, another 3-0 team. So, Russell Wilson for MVP.
Russell Wilson for
MVP.
Well, I'm just saying, if Dak Prescott could play the way he played last week consistently, we'd be talking about him. I just don't think he's an elite quarterback yet. I don't think he has. He was great that first year, but then he's kind of trickled. Same with Ezekiel Elliott.
Well, I don't really know what to say for the reason of them sloping down.
Right.
It could be a number of things. I don't know. It's just it happens.
Yeah. I know for my fantasy team, I wish Dak Prescott would play a little bit better every week, but
I bet a lot of fantasy people are saying the same thing.
Well, we're going to go ahead and move on from the NFL, going into Major League Baseball. Baseball is on its way
to the playoffs.
Yeah, it's starting to wind down.
16 teams, 8 from the National League and 8 from the American League.
Well, and I got those 16 teams here for you.
Let's hear it, Jeff.
All right, for the American League, the people who have clinched the division title, Oakland Athletics and the Tampa Bay Rays. These are the next people I'm about to name off are the people that have playoff berths. White Sox, Minnesota Twins, New York Yankees, the Cleveland Indians, Toronto Blue Jays, and the Houston Astros. Those are all teams that are going into the playoffs to try to come out with a World Series win, but it's such a weird season. I don't know how they're going to – I don't know the validity. It's kind of hard to tell. You went from in baseball, you have 162 games, I believe is what it is. You're going from 162 games to 60 games.
Yeah, for a season. They should be well rested. This is like the middle of the season for them.
Well, it's so interesting, which is weird because I feel like for the American League, it looks a lot different than last season. New York Yankees, not a for sure. They haven't clinched the division title. Oakland Athletics, they've kind of been on the rise for a little bit. Tampa Bay Rays, same, on the rise for a little bit. This year, they finally got some things moving. Yankees are always in the mix. Minnesota Twins in the mix most of the time. White Sox, haven't really seen them in quite some time. Cleveland Indians, they've had some luck the past few years. The Blue Jays, back when they had Jose Bautista, I would say that they've been pretty good. The last couple of years, they've been okay, and then this year they've looked a lot better. Houston Astros, I mean, we all know. I mean, I don't know. If you don't know, I'm about to tell you who. Astros got caught kind of in a predicament cheating. I wouldn't say cheat. I don't know. Cheating.
Just be real.
Stealing.
Be real.
Sign stealing is what they were doing.
Yes.
And they got caught, like, red-handed. And
Yeah,
that was not
that was
cool.
crazy.
That was horrible for the sport of baseball. But they're in the mix now this year. But we're going to switch over to the National League. I have the Atlanta Braves, LA Dodgers, and the Chicago Cubs, all with a division title. Playoff berths, Padre Marlins. San Diego Padres, Miami Marlins, Cincinnati Reds, St. Louis Cardinals, and the Milwaukee Brewers. Now, of course, I'm a Braves fan, so I won't talk too much about them, but they look good this year, and I really think that they can do it.
I bet you do.
LA Dodgers and Chicago Cubs. I mean, this is almost like an exact replica of last season. Atlanta Braves, LA Dodgers, and the Chicago Cubs. All three were in it. Atlanta Braves went up against somebody. I forgot who they went up against. Wow, I'm horrible. But then they had to play the LA Dodgers to make it to the World Series, and they didn't do that. They lost pretty badly.
Who do you? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, who do you like to take it all?
To take it all to go to the World Series and win it?
Who's playing in the World Series?
Okay, so taking out of my Atlanta Braves, I think what's going to happen is it's going to be the same thing. It's going to be Atlanta Braves versus the LA Dodgers to go to the World Series for the National League. Dodgers will go. And then for the American League, I would love to see I would love to see the Athletics make it to the World Series again. So I think Athletics, Dodgers World Series. Dodgers win it.
Dodgers.
I think Dodgers win it.
I'm going to have to pull for the Oakland A's. I'm sorry.
That kind of sums up our relationship.
Polar opposites.
Enough about baseball. What's left? NBA. The finals.
Let's go.
It's time.
It's time for the Lakers.
Miami versus LeBron.
Pretty much LeBron James. LeBron James. Pretty much. I mean, the Lakers are back to the finals because of LeBron James.
That is true. LeBron definitely gave life to the Lakers.
He did, and he's so genius. Not only on the court, but off the court. He did a great job with recruiting Anthony Davis, who has been monumental in this playoff series, this playoff run. He's a big reason that they're going to the finals. So Denver is at home. They're going to be watching the game like all of us. LA beat them in 5. 4-1 was the series. I'm taking Lakers in the finals. Lakers in 6.
Lakers in 6?
Lakers in 6.
Really? Well, okay, so I can kind of see it happening, but I think there's a lot of fight in Miami. It could force a Game 7, but if the Lakers get rolling and LeBron gets rolling, I could also see this just going to 5.
You know, there's a playoff LeBron.
That is true.
We're about to enter finals LeBron. So
we've seen him quite a few times, and we've seen him lost quite a few times.
Wow, here you go.
You have to be real.
Wow.
You have to be real.
Okay, so he has lost a few times, but it's redemption. It's time.
True.
You know, I feel like he's doing it.
He hasn't been with the Lakers. He has not been with the Lakers.
He has not, but I feel like he's doing it more he has more of a reason to do it this year.
That is true.
He's doing it for the Lakers. The Lakers. He's doing it for Kobe Bryant. He's doing it not only just for himself this year. I feel like other playoff runs or final runs where I want more rings. I want to be the greatest. I want, to surpass a certain number of rings. And this year, I feel like he has more to do it for. He posted on his Instagram a picture of him sitting on the floor. He said, "Job not finished." So he's focused, and it's more than just rings. He has a whole community on his shoulder.
And this is also, it's been 8 months since Kobe Bryant's death.
Yes.
And I think that had such an impact on LeBron. I think that is definitely something that he would like to accomplish in honor of Kobe Bryant.
Yeah, so I feel like he's playing for more than...
And then, I'm sorry to interrupt you.
No, you're good.
I just thought about something else. I mean, you also have Kobe Bryant, but then you also have everything else that's going on with Black Lives Matter. I mean, I think that there's also... he's been such a big I'm trying to think of the word I'm looking for, spokesperson for that movement and for that area of sports. Him winning would amplify Black Lives Matter by about tenfold.
Yeah, and with the verdict of Breonna Taylor's murderers, it didn't come out the way in a fair way. No one was
Right.
no one they didn't rule in a way that was fair. The ruling actually hurt a lot of people. A lot of people are tired of seeing the same thing over and over. After the ruling, they played a game that next day, I believe, and he had it written on his shoe, Breonna Taylor. He actually made a post saying that black women are one of the most disrespectful women or disrespected people on the planet, and he was saying, I'm going to support you. I'm going to do everything he's going to do everything in his power to change that. So I feel like he's playing for more than just what's on the out front. There's things that lies underneath that he's fighting for. He's fighting for the Lakers Foundation. It's been a while since they won. He's fighting to honor Kobe Bryant. He's fighting for the Black Lives Matter.
I think that is 100% true, and I'm excited to see where that goes after the NBA Finals, and I'm excited to see the NBA Finals. I'm excited to see all the sports going on in the country right now. It is just an exciting time. Baseball, football, hockey just wrapped up. I don't know if anybody else noticed, but the Lightning won the Stanley Cup, so that's pretty exciting. NBA is about to start winding down. Major League Baseball is on its way to winding down.
I feel like this is kind of like God's way of saying, you guys did long enough without any sports, and now I'm going to reward you. We have a buffet of sports.
We do. Everything is around us right now.
Yeah.
Where's NASCAR?
What?
They're coming in.
NASCAR? It's hard to choose. I don't know. Do I watch NBA? Do I watch NBA or do I watch NFL? Do I watch Monday Night Football or do I watch the final or the playoffs moving into the finals? Do I watch the WNBA game? There's so much I can choose from, and I love it.
It's amazing. Well, I tell you what, I know what I'm going to be doing every weekend and through the week. I'm going to be watching sports, and I'm going to be enjoying
homework. You're going to be doing homework?
What's that?
To watch sports. That's what it is.
That's what it is. That's what I like to hear. For Bree Houston, I'm Jeff Mathews, and thanking you guys for joining us here in the 91.9 studios, and we will see you next week on CrunchTime.
See ya. I feel like I almost threw up.